table.
Reese requires 40.
In a very professional, clinical performance from Rhys Colley. It was top
Game,
against bottom, and Rhys Colley does get
Rhys
victory.
Colley.
A very enjoyable game, and lots of positives for Chris Hurds as well. But Rhys Colley's just got something really special about him these days. I think he can look at automatic qualification, and with performances like that, who is going to stop him? He goes the first plate at 10 points, 94.52. Really good on the outer ring as well. A very solid performance. As we move on to game 3, it's Christopher Tunders against Makuru Suzuki. It's in his role, but very, very likeable. That has to be said. And speaking of likeable, oh yes,
first leg.
what a way to start
Suzuki.
Makuru Suzuki. A 160 finish. I actually wish there was 3 going through from this group. I think it would be deserved. It's been a terrific Group C, and Makuru is right in the mix.
180.
The 12th
42.
maximum of this week. I don't think I've got enough fingers and toes to count how many scores of 100 she's done.
43. $140.
Good response there from Tunders, and cricket is on at the minute. That was good line and length. Good line and length again from Suzuki as 180. Number 13 goes in. Let's hope it's not unlucky
100
for her.
Makuru requires 98.
It certainly isn't in this leg. Treble 20, sweet as a nut. Double 19 goes next door. Not a bad miss. Double 12 it is.
Game on the third leg. Makuru Suzuki
Tight
requires
on the wire.
135. $83.
We go back to
Makuru
that
requires
opportunity for
16.
Suzuki. Not the side of the board she prefers, but that is
Game,
plumb bang
shot,
in the
and
middle,
a
and a
match.
fully justified
Makuru
victory there for Makuru Suzuki. She is thoroughly enjoying this Group C campaign. Huge smile on her face, very much in the mix. And the first time this week she has beat Christopher Tunders in 5 attempts. You can just see her just digesting the result there, but 86.82. That beautiful sublime 160 would change things. Makuru Suzuki has an excellent chance maybe tomorrow night, as next up we move to Chris Hurds versus Justin Hood. The issue with the timing of that first start, he seemed to follow it with him, what we call the late release. And this is for the match.
51. Chris requires 96.
So, chance then for Hurds. Stay there, a little bit of a blocker. No, he didn't. He went across for the treble, double 18, I think.
72.
Tidies it up nicely, but will he be
37.
back? Little smile on the face there from Justin Hood. And that's the reason why he moves to 10 points. It wasn't the ideal start of the day for Justin Hood, but a good win there against a much more improved Chris Hurds. Like I said, he's not luckless at the moment with the fact that it's another defeat, but we can see the positives from him. But for Justin Hood, big smile on his face, and that's the reason why. Just round about that 90 average throughout that game. Really professional, and joins Rhys Colley on 10 points. Interesting game up next. It's the 5th time they've played each other. It's Gilbert VanderMaiden against Makuru Suzuki.
20. Gilbert
She
requires
can't, so surely
8.
this will go first up.
It's not first start, but it's definitely second
shot,
dart. Gilbert VanderMaiden is playing his best start of the week today. It's 2 wins out of 2 for him. Things were going so very, very well for Makuru Suzuki, but that one could be a tough pill to swallow after victory for Justin Hood and Rhys Colley earlier. Excellent numbers throughout that game. Just a little bit of a wobble on the doubles at the end, but it's Gilbert VanderMaiden who gets over the line in the end. And a big game for Rhys Colley coming up next He plays Christopher Tunders.
Requires 120. Game shot in the fourth
Fair
leg.
play to Christopher. He does seem to come alive, Scott, when he's 3-0 down.
Reese requires 40.
For the first player to go to 12 points. Rhys is looking good. Another very competent performance there from the man from Dudley. And once again, Christopher Tunders, the sportsman that he is, pulls his hand out there. But Rhys is looking very, very good. He was a big favourite sort of going in for qualification, and he's proven it on the Uki as well. Very solid around the mid-80s mark throughout. Very professional. He moves on. And Makuru Suzuki needs to follow that. She's up next, and she plays Chris Herds. Yeah, and I think when you get a player which is sat on 0 points, what it does then, it congests the rest of the group.
47.
But we still have that interesting sort of scenario right now where you sense it's 2 from 3.
180.
Thrown at a terrifically fast pace there for Chris Herds. A lot of frustration and anger in the 3 darts. And then you think to yourself, finally, I know what I need to do.
60.
Play a little bit quicker. This would be the most remarkable 9-darter that we've ever seen on this stage, because Chris Herds has played 7, lost 7. Absolutely struggling in this game, and from absolutely nowhere is on for perfection.
You have to say he's thrown caution to the wind with those first 2 throws.
141.
We're all on this. That was
41.
That was a bit of a snatch there for Herds, wasn't it, for that first dart?
I mean, to be a little bit boring here, I mean, the situation and the seriousness, you walk up there and your heart rate is going 10 to the dozen. You struggle to manage it.
100.
That's exactly what happened to Chris Herds right then. And then how many times do we see people on the 9-dart to lose their leg?
80. Makuru requires 114.
For the leg and the match. It was all about Chris Herds with the 2 maximums. But double 18.
78. Chris requires 20.
A royal smile from Suzuki there, but this is to stay in it. To take us down another leg. Double 5.
15.
Way under.
Yes, I feel you're paying Chris Herds
36.
for the neutral and this group. Makuru Suzuki does move to that 10 points and makes it very, very interesting. Do we have that scenario where it's 2 from 3? Plenty to think about for Makuru Suzuki, but also for Rhys and Justin Hood. But for Chris Herds there, we nearly had a little bit of magic at the end, but the Achilles heel being the doubles. Suzuki was the better player throughout. She is looking good. Big, big game coming up next. Don't miss it. It's top against second. It's Justin Hood against Rhys.
Justin requires 130.
We've had the big fish. Are we going to see the small fish? I'll give him a cardboard box.
Game shot in the second leg.
Happy Feet takes
Justin
the little
Hood.
fish. Double 5. Acknowledgement there from...
Decimated his average, hasn't he? But what a performance this has been from Justin Hood.
You'd have gone for the double 9 there just for the average, wouldn't you?
16.
I think a lot would. I think that's what impressed me most about that. But that was an exceptional performance from Justin Hood. He took on top of the table Rhys and produced a staggering performance. The best performance of the week. And both played their part. And Rhys will go back and dust himself down for a huge game coming up next for him. But just look at those numbers on the left. 105.26. The best average of the week. Superb on the outer ring, that 130 finish. Justin Hood, that was superb. As next up, it's Christopher Tunders against Gilbert, VanderMaiden.
Dark club,
Gilbert
a cafe bar
96.
or whatever.
Game
Well,
shot
the
in
Leicester spotted
second
double
leg.
17. I thought he'd actually
Gilbert
miscounted there, but Fair play to him. That was the way to do a 91 finish.
Gilbert requires 72.
Well, he's at 28 180s this week, but it's been his doubles which has been
Game,
the problem,
shots,
but not this time.
and
It's
the match.
double to end in a very, very enjoyable game between two friends now. Clearly, they really enjoyed this game, and the big smiles on both of them there. They gave it rock all between each other, and it was Gilbert VanderMaiden who got over the line. And look at the numbers he's posted, 96.6, playing with real freedom in that game. And Christopher Tunas, I've got the sense he really enjoyed that match as well. But it's Gilbert that gets over the line, and it's another big game coming up next. One not to miss. It's Justin Hood against Makuru Suzuki.
Kura requires 80.
Oh, don't put the mockers on the first dart, but I say consistency, that really helps. It's double 10. That is
Game,
magnificent.
shot,
Makuru Suzuki is right in the mix. And that looks a shell-shock Justin Hood. He probably thought he'd done enough for qualification with that sublime 106 average in his previous game. And when asked the question about Makuru Suzuki, can she beat Justin Hood and Rhys, we said, why not? And look at those numbers on the right. But that 80 finish at the end was just typical of the way she's playing right now. Wonderful darts, Makuru. As next up, it's Chris Hurds against Chris Tunders.
24. Christopher requires 2.
I just feel like saying, put him out of his misery. That's very flat, so this won't be easy, but he gets there in the end. It's a one-way victory for Christopher Tunders against the luckless Chris Hurds. He's just having one of those Group C campaigns he will want to forget as soon as possible. He will be back for one more, Chris Hurds. It's been a terrific week for Christopher Tunders, up and down. He won't remember that game apart from the scoreline. Tunders wins by 4-0. It's getting to the business end now. It's Reese up next against Gilbert VanderMaiden.
Gilbert requires 106.
Revamped player from what we've seen all week.
Game shot on the first
And there's
leg.
proof
Gilbert
in
VanderMaiden.
the pudding.
Well, he'll have some questions to ask himself.
Only he knows, but
180.
he'll go back from here. And he would have learnt a lot from being on the stage. There'll be more ADC Europe events, the ADC Benelux events, and the tour events that they're running. And another tour event was announced at the start of the week.
Game shot on the second leg.
Well, darts like
Gilbert
that's got...
VanderMaiden. Gilbert requires 100.
Double 16. What a
Game,
match. What
shot,
a performance.
and the
Gilbert
match.
VanderMaiden.
Gilbert VanderMaiden.
Spoiler alert. Rhys will play Makuru Suzuki, and that will be an incredible game. The winner will go through and the loser will be relying on maybe other results. But let's just give some credit to the Dutchman there. 100.91. Excellent on the outer ring. 4 from 7. 106 finish and under pressure at the end. That double. And Rhys played his part in an absolute cracker. As we go on to the final games for each player, Justin Hood is up first. A massive game for him. He plays Chris Tunders.
Justin requires 82.
Well, this is for the match. And this is for qualification. Tops. And
Game,
Justin Hood
shot,
is the second
and the
player to
match,
qualify for
Justin
tomorrow night's
Hood.
final, and very well deserved. He was the favourite going in before a dart was thrown on Monday morning. Once again, just a quick mention that Christopher Tunders played his part in a terrific performance, an excellent match. He's been brilliant this week. But Justin Hood just has that star quality, and when he needed a performance, he pulled it out there. 102.77. 4 from 6. Everything he asked himself, he delivered. We will see him tomorrow night, and he'll be in with a big, big chance. But the biggest game of the week is coming up next. It's a straight shootout for qualification. It's Makuru Suzuki against Rhys.
Rhys requires
If the match
20.
stayed on through, obviously she would win. So no real dramas just yet. Guessing that didn't come out of his hand correctly. That did.
Game shot in the second leg. Rhys.
Dart that was in the board already. Suzuki surely will not let this go again. Oh, how close can you get?
8.
With 2 darts.
Rhys requires 32.
Well, I'm lost for words there.
Game on the 5th leg.
And Rhys Colley leads 3-2. You wouldn't think so by his demeanour. Incredible.
96.
On the wire.
Reese requires 28.
In a match that was full of tension, anxiety. Both weren't at their best, but Rhys Colley is the third player to qualify for Saturday night. And for Makuru Suzuki, she played outstanding in this Group C campaign, but just very similar to late last night. She also, just at the final furlong, just let herself down and just really struggled on the outer ring. 2 from 31 was a real Achilles heel there. But for Rhys Colley, he kept his patient and he got over the winning line in the end, and he joins Justin Hood in tomorrow's final. What a match. What tension as we move to the final match of Group C. It's Gilbert VanderMaiden against Chris Hurds.
Gilbert requires 16.
Well, this will be a miracle dart.
8. $80.
It just felt like
Gilbert
after the Lord Mayor's show,
8.
Gilbert VanderMaiden came into this match with 4 wins out of 4. Has he had the perfect day?
4. Chris requires 108. Game shot in the 5th leg.
Well, Chris Hurds,
Chris Hurds.
that is unbelievable. Gilbert Vander, I said we hadn't seen a stat like 31
6th
missed
leg.
darts at a double
Chris to throw first.
in
Game
the previous
on.
game, but right now Gilbert is 3 from 25. He's been his own worst enemy if he doesn't get across the line here.
41.
This game should be done and dusted. He may have a smile on his face there. There will be that element of frustration.
57.
It would be an unlikely victory for Chris Hurds, but maybe it's something like that 108 finish.
81.
A very lackadaisical last dart on that 81 score.
$100. $40.
That was a bizarre angle. I can only think the flight had come out before it reached the dartboard there. I think we've seen absolutely everything with Chris Hurd, and most of them have been on the negative side.
58.
Can he get himself together? Yes, he can. That's a perfect first dart. Just a little jumpy on the second, but he's got control of this. I didn't think I'd be saying a couple of minutes ago that we're going all the way in this one. This man in your
60.
picture was in utter control. But just 3 from 25 on the outer ring.
84.
Chris Hurds is getting quicker and quicker.
$91. Chris requires 130.
For the little fish.
63 scored, yeah.
67 left. You go down to treble 17,
80.
bed.
Gilbert requires 135.
One is arguably one of the most difficult finishes on the board. If he does hit the treble 20, that first dart was a great marker.
48. Chris requires 50.
Tops.
Game shot in the
3-3.
6th leg. Chris Hurds.
Has been a week, a very tight contest. However, today we've had a lot of one-sided games, incredible finale.
7th leg. Gilbert
That man
to
in your
throw
picture
first.
there
Game
played
on.
9 and lost 9, and pretty much was out after 4 legs here. But he's fought back to 3-3.
79.
It'd be an unlikely win. Gilbert will be given absolutely everything. He could end the day, remember, on 5 wins out of 5.
43. 94. 60.
70 points ahead plus these. One of his trademark maxes. Surprisingly, no 180s in this game for Gilbert. He's been well below par, as has Chris Hurds.
60. 134.
I have a sense he won't be messing about with doubles too much in this leg.
36. Gilbert requires 94.
Big 17 to leave tops.
54. 43. Gilbert requires 40.
Double 10. Five wins out of 5 for Gilbert VanderMaiden. He saved his very best to the final day against the luckless Chris Hurds, who's had an absolute nightmare in the Group C campaign, but always full of sportsmanship, always magnanimous in defeat. For Gilbert VanderMaiden, 5 wins out of 5. But what a Group C campaign that was. It was super. It was absolute heartache for Makuru Suzuki. She was incredible, and what a difference in that Group C campaign from the Group A. But just at the final fence she fell, and that meant that there was no collie wobbles for Rhys collie. He got there in the end in what was a very, very nervy match. Justin Hood was the favourite going into it, and he topped the table, and he was just in time bringing his very, very best. It means it's going to be an exciting Saturday night, and Chris Gilliland will be joined by Justin Hood and Rhys collie.
Yeah, he certainly will. Thank you, Glenn. Scott Mitchell's come to join me. Scott, there's one little aspect of ending the show on the stage that I don't really like. It's you walk past the players as they leave, and we're just coming to do our jobs. I just wanted to give Chris Hurds a hug. He looked devastated, did he, not to get a win?
Yeah, we both did, and he looked like he was going to come back there, and Gilbert being Gilbert this week, you didn't know what he was going to do, and he takes the last leg, and you just feel the hurt for Hurds.
Yeah, nicely done. You can have my job soon. Let's show the results then for today. And it's not good reading for Chris Hurd and his friends. He's lost all of his matches for the second successive day. But it did start interestingly. Makuru Suzuki getting that win over Christopher Tunders, and Gilbert VanderMaiden starting his great day. He's won all his matches today against Justin Hood. Meant we ended up with a race on our hands. And then in the middle of the day, Hood against Collie, it looked like it was starting to go wrong for Reese.
Absolutely, and I think at that point he thought he was more or less home and hosed whether that game went either way, and he played that game like he wasn't really bothered whether it went either way. But the fact of the matter was Justin Hood had to have it go his way, and he did with the 105. It was a magic average, and it was an easy game to come out here and play your mate and not get right, but he got it massively right.
Yeah, the big game later in the day then became Rhys Collie against Makuru Suzuki. That was a straight shootout for qualification. She missed so many darts at double. She's going to be kicking herself tonight.
Yeah, the stat was 2 from 32 on that one. And the hard thing was she'd done all the work through the group to get to that point. She had a lot of work to do at the start of the day to make it go her way. And she did that and she achieved it. But then all of a sudden the wheels fell off. And, it all started with that. She was way ahead and she hit 120 and left double 5 and then had another sort of 8 darts at that, and it got messy, but she still won that leg. But unfortunately, it had already done the damage between the ears, and then she'd started thinking, can I hit a double? And then she came down the next one and didn't hit it. Reese then just jogged on down, stole it, really did Dick Turpin it, and then it was his from there, really.
Yeah, and to be fair to Rhys Collie, he was on a bit of a slide. He'd missed darts himself to beat Gilbert VanderMaiden in the game before that. So you have to give him credit for digging deep and getting the job done.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And I think that's something maybe 6 or 8 months ago he wouldn't have done. And he did that this time. He's come of age. He's become a dad. And maybe things in life, you see it slightly differently. And you see you're a little bit more relaxed on the board. I think I think that's what's happened to him. But you can't tell from the interview because he's so laid back he'd fall over anyway.
Absolutely. Another laid-back character is Justin Hood, a real joy to have here at the Super Series, and of course he's through as well. A bit more sort of drama-free for him in the end. He lost that first match, but just got the job done a little bit earlier. Beating Rhys really helped. This was the moment he got through when he beat Christopher Tunas, and he did it with little fuss.
Yeah, you say that, but inside he still would have been racing. He would still, you know, it looked for us from the outside when you're not playing that it was little fuss, but inside he would have not been feeling like that at all. And when that double dropped, that was a big moment for him. And then he knows it's home and hosed, and he can relax now and look forward to tomorrow. For
all the other players, we've spoken about Chris Hurd before, and you've spoken in depth with Glenn in commentary about maybe what's next for him. But for the other guys, Christopher Tunders, Makuru, Suzuki, who got really close, and Gilbert, VanderMaiden, who, let's be fair, he's gone through the card today, they can all go away and think, right, when am I back? Because I've just shown that I can compete, and maybe next time I'll be at finals night.
I think Gilbert VanderMaiden went through the card today because he knows that he's not performed, and obviously Glenn's been speaking to family and friends backwards and forwards through social media, and they know that he hasn't performed. He's probably sat in his hotel last night and going, I've huffed, I've puffed, I've tried throwing hard, I've tried throwing slow, I've tried everything. Tomorrow I'm just going to go out there and enjoy it. And we saw him enjoying it, and he went through the card lovely. But Chris Tunders, I think the first couple of days he was over enjoying it, wasn't he? He was winking to the camera. We were having great fun out the back and just watching his persona. And he's a lovable character. He's got a character that you just can't not like. So that's a good thing for him. He's just got to try and reproduce what he's done in the last couple of days, because he's been much better. Wednesday, the wheels really did nearly fall off for him, and I was worried for him. He was stopping every dart. He's obviously gone back, had a little look, maybe taken a little bit on board of what Glenn's saying. He's a great coach, and myself, and saying what we would do if we were in that situation. And he brought that to Thursday and Friday, and we saw a different Chris Tunders. So he still leaves with a little bit of something inside, knowing that it was worthwhile being here this week.
Yeah, well, those guys may be back in a future series, but Justin Hood and Rhys will be back on this stage tomorrow night. They are the two players going through from this group, and we can see the table there. We can see how close it was in the end, just 2 points separating 4 players.
Yeah, absolutely. My heart goes out to Suzuki. It really does. How great would it have been for her to be here tomorrow night, and the fans get to see her up close and personal. It wasn't meant to be. Maybe next time. Maybe she's one of those that, even though she's been around a while, maybe she learned a bit this week about, you know, taking the moments at the right time, and hopefully we'll see her again, and maybe she'll make the Saturday final then.
Yeah, so 3 players now through to the Saturday final this week. Chris Gilliland, Justin Hood and Rhys. Group B will see the final 3 join them this evening. Joe Murnan and Ryan Harrington in particular having great nights last night. But what I'm going to focus on is the players that are through, because I think we've got 3 players, Scott, that are through that all say they kind of haven't hit their peak yet. They think that could come tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. And why not? They're big game players. So I see why not. I think that those guys are doing the averages. I think Reese has probably just dropped off the average if you look at Justin and Gilliland, if you look at what they've been doing. But look, we've still got a good night tonight, and we've got some big hitters to come in tonight. So Joe Murnan looks good. Like you say, yeah, it's going to be exciting Saturday night. Whoever gets through, it's good stuff, and everybody's going to get to see it with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't miss it tonight then to see who joins those 3 at finals night. Joe Murnan and Ryan Harrington in the box seat, and it looks like a real battle for 3rd place. 9:45, we are on air live here on the Modus Super Series YouTube channel and on Sporty Stuff TV. And then, of course, finals night tomorrow from 7:30, where Justin Hood has made it. It's all good in the hood.
Game shot in the second leg.
Happy Feet takes the little fish.